Origin just wants to reaction. This is fever feels horrible, but is actually awesome. Yeah, this is my channel Kurzgesagt in a nutshell. If there is a video by any science channel that should be there, it's this basically, right? As soon as this notification pops up, yeah, yes, this is the video you should make. Kurzgesagt is great at that, like choosing great topics. Why? Now, in modern world, even though people don't like science, apparently, even though like 22 million subscribers, like decent channel, but apparently people don't like science that much. All those Joe Rogan followers and shit. Not hitting on Joe Rogan, obviously. Like, he just gets the data that processed through his head, who are sitting in front of him or whatever. But yeah, people need to understand how to process any information, right? People sometimes like blame scientists, and that only reason that is for like scientists are not great communicators, so like they're not great at telling somebody something or at making them understand in that way, which is a problem, right? So people usually misunderstand scientists and just like run away with it. So in modern world, people, even though they hate science, they just say, oh, we live in modern world, tech world, we live in technology, just pill for everything. Anything that is even remotely outside of anything that's normal, take a pill for it, right? And then they blame the pill, then they blame the doctors. Even doctors are basically just throwaway pills at you because anybody came before you were like kind of a-holes and basically just give me the pill, shut up. So they got tuned to that. But the problem is, if Timmy has a like 99 fever, give antipyretic or something, acetaminophen or whatever, what you have there, right? That's a problem, because fever is an actual immune system response. It's extremely important. Fever is not just a sign that you're sick. There's a reason why it's a sign, because fever is important in everything, right? So if you have a fever, that's body fighting it back, right? That's pretty important. If you like crush it down, if you crush down the fever, right, that comes in a way, immune system will kind of adapt and try to still do its thing. And sometimes if it's too strong, it doesn't matter how much antipyretic you take, fever's not gonna fever is not going to come down that hard. But yeah, it's still a problem. So fever is important unless it becomes too much, like 104, 105 plus something. Your body can also go extreme. Just like your body can kill your own lungs if it thinks there's a problem, right? That's pneumonia always kills like that. But usually it's great thing, right? Unless you have extremely high fever, you shouldn't just take pills left and right. It's like drink healthy, like eat soup and sit down, like let the process through. You'll be better, fast basically. So let's do this one.
Fever feels bad, so we take medication to suppress it. But is this a good idea? It turns out fever is one of the oldest defenses against disease. What exactly is it? How does it make your immune defense stronger? And should you take a pill to combat it? The heat of life. On Earth, life is able to thrive between the extremes of -10 degrees Celsius in deep, cool pools and 120 degrees Celsius in thermal vents. Step outside this range and die. Every animal or microbe has a temperature range that's ideal and one that's stressful but survivable for a while. Your ideal temperature is where your cells work best, where their internal machinery is the most efficient and the animal as a whole the best adapted to its niche. Humans are warm-blooded animals, and our bodies expend a lot of energy to keep us around 37 degrees Celsius or 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. Which seems wasteful, but this may actually be a defensive adaptation. Our temperature makes us almost entirely immune to one of the worst killers and parasites, fungi. Most colder animals and their insides are infected by them, but you are just...
Is it me just got like shivers as soon as it saw that mushroom growing inside your liver, lungs, whatever the fuck that was? No, hell no. All the games like Fallout and shit shows that, like, fuck that.
Too hot. Which brings us to fever. For any microbe that wants to infect you, your body is a world they want to conquer. Fever is defensive climate change pushing an invader outside its ideal temperature range and making the world horrible. It evolved at least 600 million years ago and is widespread. Most animals increase their core temperature when they're sick. Fish swim into warmer waters, lizards bathe in the sun, bees heat up the air inside their hive. But you, warm-blooded mammal, you have way more drastic options. Let's make you sick and see what happens. When your blood turns into lava. You're invaded by bacteria and viruses at the same time. The invasion is powerful, and you need to slow it down as fast as possible. Fever is part of your first line of defense, triggered by a diverse group of chemicals called pyrogens, the creators of heat. They float away from the battlefield and pass right into your brain, where specialized receptors pick them up and crank up your internal thermostat. First, you begin to shiver. Your skeletal muscles contract really
I
quick.
don't know why he thought let's give legs to brain. You want to show the whole human body like an X-ray style. So your body has legs, so does your brain apparently. There you go.
Which generates a lot of heat in your core. At the same time, usually the blood vessels near your surfaces contract and prevent heat from escaping through your skin. Your skin cools down while your insides burn. Fever is a systemic body-wide response and is a serious energy investment for your body. You burn about 10% more calories to stay alive for every degree centigrade your body temperature rises. Fever is also a strong order to lay down.
Which is a big ass problem. Why? First of all, when your body needs more energy to produce more heat, right? You can't really eat food and like make up for that, can you? Because have you ever eaten food like proper meal and just like you were feeling like, oh, let's do something, just like maybe let's sit down a bit? Why? Because when you eat food, your digestive system takes a lot of toll on your body, right? So for a while you feel like let's just sit down or take a sleep. That's why people siestas or whatever they're called. People usually sleep, mid-afternoon or something. Usually after eating like lunch or something, right? So your body's actually fighting infection. Your body's already like we are at full capacity here. Let's chill out. So you don't want to eat that much. Whenever you're sick, you don't want to eat things. This is the reason, right? But at the same time, you need more energy for that fever. So this is when like your fat deposits or even your muscles come into play, right? If you don't have that much fat, your body will, and if it needs that much energy, it will usually just like take it from the muscle and fat. But if you're one of those people like extremely fit, and I'm not talking about the muscularly fit like bodybuilders and shit. I'm talking about extremely fit who's like really lean, muscles are showing near anorexic. You know the Family Guy joke with the ribs, tin, 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 that basically. If you're like that, and basically this people like, this like dietitian, great dietitian, right? Famous for, I'll just eat veggies, and then they die at 49 or something, and people are like, why the fuck that happened? Shit like this. And a crucial time when you need energy, you don't have any fat deposit left, and you don't have much of muscle either, right? So at that time, sometimes if you're like slightly healthy, maybe you'll make it, but there's a higher chance your body will shut down, right? That's why like just at a crucial moment when you need it to pass through this disease, you don't, and people die at 49, 52, shit like that. Like, see, they were healthy. Were they though? Were they healthy? They were insanely lean. That's not healthy. There's extreme of both sides. So that's the thing, right? If you're too lean, and if you're like reaching anorexia type of shit, what is it called? Yeah, anorexia type of shit, and eating is a problem, it's generally healthy to stay decent shape, let's just say, because when your body's sick, it needs that.
Down and rest to save energy and give your immune system time to fight. Back to the battlefield. When the bacteria entered your body, they tried to be stealthy, but now they've switched into high production mode. Their goal is to multiply as fast as possible, which means they need a lot of resources and are highly stressed. Imagine running a marathon while eating a succulent Chinese meal and giving birth. The last thing bacteria need right now is more stress. So your immune system tries to stress them out as much as possible by ordering inflammation, which floods the battlefield with fluids, attack proteins and soldiers. Pretty stressful. Fever is even more stress. For the
I don't know if Kurzgesagt simplifies sometimes, but that's one of the most simplified shit of all time, right? Yeah, kind of. You can see it that way, sure.
Bacteria a moment ago, the temperature range was pleasant. Now, the world burns. Heat can cause their organs to break and the membranes to rupture, damage their DNA, and diminish protein production. They are seriously suffering from the heat. Why doesn't this affect your cells? It does. All of this is stressful for your cells too. Virtually every system and organ of your body works worse during fever, except one, your immune system. Neutrophils are recruited faster, macrophages and dendritic cells are better at devouring enemies, killer cells kill better, and so on. And fever animates your immune cells to gobble up the critical resources your enemies need, like iron, glucose, and glutamine, turning the battlefield into a food desert. The viruses that infected millions of cells are doing even worse because they're also very sensitive to heat. For example, the rhinovirus that causes the common cold can only infect your respiratory tract because it is significantly colder than the rest of your body, even without fever. The heat is also really bad for the millions of cells that are infected by viruses at this point. They are working super hard producing viruses, which is pretty stressful. As the heat becomes too much to bear, the super stressed cells panic. As their internal machinery is breaking and failing, they quickly produce billions of heat shock proteins, or HSPs, that start repairs, keeping them alive. But this is a trap. Even your healthy cells produce HSPs to deal with the heat, but if a cell makes too many of them, this means it's more stressed than it should be. And if it's too stressed, something is wrong and it should be killed. So your natural killer cells and killer...
Yeah, basically, what was the Red Dawn? What was that movie where Germans took over a facility in Britain and they were trying to speak, I don't know, there was a movie, they were trying to speak British basically, but can't because they're like pronouncing things much stronger. This is World War II movie or something. Pronouncing things too heavy with a German accent, pretending to be, I don't know, American or British or something. Basically shit like that, right? A cell try to basically, like do more things, more stressed out, just working differently. Oh, wait a minute, there's a problem there. Our immune system is like, sometimes feels like based on common sense, which is like, yeah, makes sense.
T cells are activated and attracted by HSPs and start killing infected cells and all the viruses inside them. By trying to protect themselves, infected cells are calling out to be destroyed. But if fever is such an effective weapon, why don't your enemies adapt to it? How is it still viable in so many different animals after hundreds of millions of years? A wild reason is that fever actually might outsmart evolution. If your enemies survive fever long enough, natural selection changes them. The individuals that are better suited to deal with heat reproduce more. After a few days, they've adapted. But this becomes a handicap because the next step is to infect new victims in new bodies, and now healthy humans are too cold for them. Not impossible to infect, just harder. And the heat resist.
Yeah, basically, there is certain people get sick in like humid and hot places a lot of time. I'm guessing there must be some adaptive jumps like that. But yeah, temperature plays a big role in our whole ability to like regular temperature in that way, like a lot of degrees Celsius, right? 37 to like, I don't know, 40, 42 or something. After that, it's getting too much for your organs and things, right? So yeah, some cells adapt. Our organs is still going to be a problem. But yeah, this is a good system all around. But there's a sweet spot, right? Anything over like 105, 106 Fahrenheit is a problem. I think you can go to 108, but I think problem starts to emerge, right? I don't know. You can have like proper organ damages and things. So yeah. But by then, like, person is probably sleeping in bed or something, can't even move, just like a bit of delirious. You would know by then, like, oh, this is too much.
Resistant microbes now compete with their cousins that like it colder and have an advantage infecting healthy hosts. This creates an evolutionary dilemma without a perfect solution. To circumvent this, serious pathogens like measles use hit-and-run tactics. The measles virus is the most infectious right before your fever hits with full force. It's brutally beaten back once your full immune response shows up, but by then, the damage is done. Fever is an effective part of the puzzle of your immune system, helping to attack and stress your enemies from as many angles as possible. But if fever is so great, why do we stop it when we're sick?
Yeah, too much is a problem.
Should you fight fever with medications? We think it's normal to have magic pills, but relatively harmless over-the-counter pain medication like aspirin or ibuprofen only became cheap and widely available.
Yeah, paracetamol or acetaminophen, as you call it there, is I guess the most harmless of them all, pyrotics, right? Because ibuprofen is more than that, right? Ibuprofen also has like NSAID properties, anti-inflammatory property. Aspirin is kind of similar, it's also that way, but paracetamol is just like antipyretic, right? Maybe works in pain, but who knows?
In the last century or so, going to a pharmacy to get something for your headache is extremely new in human history. Pain feels bad, so we've gotten used to stopping it when we feel it. If you're sick, you're supposed to feel a reasonable amount of pain, so you lie down and save energy. This is not a bug, but a feature of your immune system. But pain and fever are closely connected, and over-the-counter pain...
Well, there are two elements to this, right? I don't want to pause too much, but people get migraine a lot, right? And aspirin works great at that. I guess it depends on the migraines, what type of migraine it is. But why do people get migraine at that level? Well, change in atmosphere. Let's say you're outside and then suddenly you walk into AC room, another man-made shit. Or bright light with a brighter LED light or some shit, right? Or bright TV or like mobile phone. So nowadays people get migraine at a level like even if you lie down, your brain will hurt, right? It's one side of brain hurt and like different style of migraines, right? If it's like chronic, some issue behind it, that's different. But usually people get migraine, it will last for hours. It will be throbbing pain. It will pain so much it will feel like unbearable, right? Why? Because of all this shit. So people didn't used to get that kind of migraines because people's environment didn't change that much. Whatever temperature is inside the house, it will be relatively same outside. Whatever light you see at night is just like some fire or something, not LED lights or smartphones or shit, right? So yes, headache and shit is rising, but it's because of this.
Medication like ibuprofen and paracetamol also work against fever. Especially in children, fever is often suppressed by worried parents or doctors, sometimes because they think fever itself is the disease.
99. If it says 99, oh my god, we need to give like chill. It's 99, man. 99 to 102 is like, okay, acceptable. If you go 102 and you're like it's a nighttime, maybe give like paracetamol small dose or something because you don't know how late it's going to rise to 105, 106. But 99, 100, 101, it's like it's probably fine fighting an infection. Don't suppress that.
Or they're worried that it can do long-term harm. In general, it's fair to say that for temperatures below 40 degrees Celsius or 104 Fahrenheit, fever is not dangerous and doesn't need to be treated. Of course, there are also patients that should not have fever, like pregnant women, seniors, and seriously weakened patients. For them, the extra stress may be dangerous. Fever over 40 degrees Celsius is dangerous to anybody because it's most likely caused by your internal heat monitor failing. Things get more complicated in serious disease territory. We also have evidence that for some diseases like influenza or chickenpox, anti-fever drugs do not help you to heal faster. But we're also running into ethics problems here that make clinical trials difficult. In one study, doctors gave strong anti-fever treatment to critical care patients, but had to stop after mortality shot up. Overall, we have strong indications that more people may survive serious...
This is the thing, right? I mean, people bitch about all the time, like, what are scientists doing? Doctors don't know anything. Like, how is doctor going to know anything? What magic you want them to perform? What sorcery you want them to perform? You need to have, like, scientific trials. How are you going to do that? Whenever somebody's sick, trial out some medication, like, whatever experiment there is. Is that ethically allowed? 50 people here, 50 people there, one group research something else, one group research. Objectively, probably one of them are going to be screwed, one of the groups. So 50 people screwed, is that ethically right? So we don't want anybody to get hurt, right? At the same time, we also want like doctors to do their thing. On what? Rats are the only things left. Rats, maybe monkeys, even that like animal PETA gets in the way nowadays. Everybody should be protected. Even if it means longer term, humans going to die, sure, why not? So all that shit gets in the way. So yeah, broad spectrum antibiotics. People have the Joe Rogan thing, right? Doctor don't know anything. Broad spectrum is like nuking everything. What else are they gonna do? How the fuck are they gonna find anything specific? Nobody's letting do anything, right? So this is the best. You should be. I'm surprised we even have broad spectrum antibiotics because yeah, I'm surprised we get to the point where we figure that out.
Serious infectious diseases better with a fever. And there is very little clinical evidence that stopping fever leads to better health outcomes. But there are important exceptions like neurological injuries and stroke. We definitely need a lot more research. So should you fight fever?
It's not about research, right? When fever goes too high, 108 Fahrenheit plus, it does damage, like your organs. I have seen people having like eye issues, like getting nearly blind and things because they're like fever rise like 110 or something. 108, 110, whatever, right? Like depending on genetics as well, like, organ damages and things, long-term damages. Even if you survive, like you're probably gonna have problems in the future. So yeah, there is a point where your body basically goes over too much. That applies to everything. That applies to your immune system as well. Like I said, sometimes your immune system kills your lung because it just bombard everything because everything's infected, right? So until the day we can surgically attack things, I don't know, like through nanotechnology or CRISPR or whatever, way far in the future, this is the best we have.
Fever? Well, speak to your doctor and don't listen to internet videos. But this decision is really about payoffs. If a fever is not dangerously high and you can bear it, you're supporting your
Joe Rogan told me have a cold bath and that's all you need. You don't need pills. There you go.
defenses and may even get healthy a bit faster. But if you feel really bad and are healthy in general, taking a pill against pain and fever will make you feel better quicker at the cost of a slightly less effective immune defense. However you decide, the next time you're burning up and feeling bad, you can rest easy in the knowledge that your enemies are having a much worse time than you. It's thanks to doctors and researchers that we have these insights. We're just doing our part by bringing them to you. If you are also aiming to make a positive difference in the world, where should you start? Today's sponsor, 80,000 Hours, can help you with that decision.
Yeah, we will go to 80,000hours.org for says in a nutshell and support this channel. Yeah, when it comes to certain type of diseases like typhoids and things, right? There is I don't know how many like diseases there are, but yeah, there are way too many diseases. But there are certain diseases that's like kinda strong in our modern medicine. So even something like typhoid, which is not that that worrisome, but it will take time. Now there are two elements to this, right? If you let your immune system be and don't take antibiotic and things, let 105, 106 Fahrenheit, just make it do its thing, you'll feel like hell for like a week or something, past 2 weeks or something, and then you'll get better like rapidly, right? But if you take antibiotics, keep your body temperature below 100, take antibiotics and things, maybe, right, it could take a month or something of a strong antibiotic dosing and things. Because I've heard of like if you have typhoid fever or something, like you take like 2 different type of antibiotics, right? I'm not going to name here and like that's a problem, but I know the names. But basically 2 types of antibiotic, one works the other way, right? So this Z-Pack, okay, that's it, Z-Pack and the other one, let's just not go in detail, but I don't know if that's a problem or not. But basically when you take shit like that, right, you have to take that like a month, which is probably not great for your body or something, but it's still, you won't feel like shit. After like 3-4 days, you're walking around, you're still doing your things, you're not feeling the best, but you're walking around. So the trade-off there is like feeling like shit and be bedridden and really feeling bad because you have 108 fever or something for a long time, compared to like having disease for a month, taking pills, but still walking around. So there's always a trade-off, and usually people take the month trade-off, month one, because you're still walking around, you're not in pain. So I would say that's a good trade-off in the end. But there are simple cold, simple, ear, what is a nose, ear, throat, whatever infection that is. Small things like this, especially your kids. Unless fever is high, don't just like throw medication at them. You don't know when child is growing, what kind of effect that will have in its immune system, the kid's immune system when growing up. So that's not good. Right, well, that was fever feels horrible, but it's actually awesome. My channel is in a nutshell. If you like my next phone, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.